helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using LifeWave daily and their families. Big, big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin becomes younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really, really, really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
You need to unmute, Robin.
Okay. We'll start over. Welcome, everybody, to Testimonial Tuesday. We're really glad you took the time to be with us this evening. I'm your host tonight, Robin Blanc-Mascari, and we get together every Tuesday to share stories. We love to hear your stories, love, 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 because they change people's lives. So we start out with your stories, and you'll want to raise your hand, and we'll call on the people that have their hands up first. So sharing your stories, and then we bring on one of our wonderful practitioners. And tonight we are blessed to have Anne Moreau with us. And you're going to hear more about her in a little while. And then it's your turn. If you have questions and you want to ask Anne, then wait until she has started speaking before you put them in the chat, because I want to make sure I see them. And let's see. Oh, a little guidance on testimonials. We want to always be compliant. And when we're compliant, we are brief. We never share disease names. We only share symptoms. If you name it, you claim it. And we are a natural products company, so we keep things symptoms only. And if you do have a question that names it, I won't ask it. So just so you know that. So be brief, be compliant, and be done. So a minute or less is a great time to share your stories and what it was like before, what your limitations were, what you were not able to do. Now, I couldn't get up off the floor. My knees wouldn't let me get down on the floor, or I couldn't play tennis because I had a bad back, or whatever it may be. And then what patch you used, and now what you can do. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. We got a bunch of hands up. And thank you, Gregory, for being in the background, and tech support. This is a team sport. We don't do any of this alone. And so we're going to start out with, I see Jerry's hand up first, and we'll go to Ravel Sunshower. Ravel Lavelle, I love it. Jerry, you are on.
Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for doing everything that you do. I have 2 new ones. I have so many that I could tell people, but I walk a lot. I'm out the door at 6:30 with my dogs, and I could not walk the other day because I got a blister in between the 4th toe that was huge by the time I got home to treat it. And what I did was I had to cut it and let it drain and everything, and put some Neosporin on it. But then what I did, I put a Band-Aid and I put an X39 on it, and I wrapped it around it. And probably in about an hour, the pain was gone, and I'm walking on it, 8 hours later without any pain. And I'm Christmas decorating, and I twitched my back, or whatever you want to say, taking a heavy box and that, and I couldn't bend or anything today. And there were 2 spots on either side, and I took 2 X39s, put them on both spots, and probably a half an hour later, I was good to go.
I love it.
Thank you.
Didn't get in the way of you moving forward, did it? Decorating, walking. Thank you, Jerry. That's wonderful. Really, really, really appreciate that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Jerry did a very compliant storytelling. I hope everyone noticed that. So Ravel, you're next.
Thanks, Robin. You know, as you've mentioned several times, it's wonderful to hear positive testimonials virtually every day in LifeWave. And I just heard one this afternoon. A lovely lady in South Dakota has had incontinence challenges. Now, thanks to X39, she gets to the washroom in time. She also had an alleviation of pain. I think it's been just under 3 months or so on X39. And for the first time in at least 5 years since a really bad car accident, she mentioned to me that she had 7 hours of sleep on Sunday. So thank you, X39. And in certain cases, she puts on Eon as well. Thanks.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, the things like incontinence that we don't want to talk about because it's really embarrassing. If we can help people with something like that, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. So thank you.
Help with the
Incontinence.
what, X39?
Yeah. Okay. If you're not speaking, please have your line muted. So we have Sunshower.
Hello, everybody. It's so
Hi.
good to see so many people here this evening. Thank you,
Yes.
Robin. I'm going to say a story that many people that have been around the block with LifeWave know about. But if you're new, you haven't heard this one. So consistency is the key here. I have been wearing X39 now for 3 years. And on the second year, I was out in my backyard weeding. And what I never was able to do before was smell my whole life. And I go, wait a minute, this weed smells different than this weed. And now I can smell.
Wow.
Yay! That's
Yeah.
so huge. That is so huge.
And what I'm
Thank-
working on right now, as you can see, is I have my energy enhancer patches on it's called Kidney 27. And I'm working on a cough that I have that I believe is from just years and years around being around people who smoked. I'm not around those people anymore, but I think there's some residue from that. Can kind of hear it in my voice right now even. So yeah, energy enhancers. If anybody has any other suggestions, let me know.
Yep, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's so wonderful to have remedies. You know, the other night I was having, some stomach cramping and I don't know what happened. And I did a triangulation of patches in my midsection and it was like dramatic. It was like gone. And I did put a heating pad on my belly. It was very comforting, but I'll tell you, I'm so grateful. I don't know what we do without these. Love it. Okay, thank you, Sunshower. So Lavelle, you are next. Good evening, my friend.
Good evening. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year coming up, all that other good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick old and a new. I'm gonna give you the new first. My friend, our dry cleaner, actually, we gave her some X30. Well, she bought some X39 and she put the patches on. And her husband said she had to take it off because when they tried to go to bed at night, she left it and she couldn't sleep. She had so much energy. So I went back over there again today, and then they said, "Oh no, you can't wear this because he's giving her too much energy. She can't sleep at night." So I said, "Listen, just wear it 6 hours, half the time then." So they're gonna try that. So that's that. But here's something that I gotta share with you, and I just thought about this. When we first got involved, a friend of ours, her name is Cherie. She had glass in her foot and they did the surgery in her heel and they took the glass out, and for a year her foot wouldn't heal. So she called up Majay, my wife's just sitting over here, and she was crying like, "Majay, they're saying they're gonna have to amputate my foot because it won't heal." Majay said, "Well, we just got involved with this new program. Come over here." And Majay put all these patches on her. And in 3 weeks, she went to the doctor. And the doctor and Majay was with her. And the doctor said, "What have you been doing?" She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Who's your
Your,
surgeon?
her surgeon said, "Your foot is healing." Robin, they stopped the amputation and they were going to
Oh,
amputate her foot.
wow.
Guys, you have to share this with everybody. And I just want to call my wife because they came over and she's a very good friend of ours. And Michelle put, I don't know how many patches on it, but she patched her up.
Patch and pray, patch and pray.
Patch and pray, Michelle said. Thanks for
Patch
letting
and-
us share. Thanks
Oh,
for letting
that's
us share, Robin and Gregory.
I mean, what's the value of that? We have saved so many people's
And the
limbs
horse.
from being
And the
amputated.
horse.
It's so amazing. I think a lot of you have heard the story that Gregory and I had on Thanksgiving Day. Um, the mother of our oldest son was in the hospital, and they told us that she might not make it. They said there was a pretty good chance she wouldn't make it through the day. So our Thanksgiving Day changed a lot, and we took turns going to the hospital and seeing her. And when Gregory and I went, we patched her up big time. And
Robin, Robin, just one other thing my wife said. Friend of ours, Ruth and Rick Morris, they own an equestrian farm. They help with special needs children. They let them ride for free. And the veterinarian was trying to help the horse because they had a big gash in the leg and they spend a lot of money, couldn't heal the horse. Jay patched him up in 3 days. Guess what? They stopped putting that horse down. And it prolonged that horse's life. Just amazing. Back to you,
so
Robin.
beautiful that we could save limbs and save lives. And, dear Linda in the hospital, she was not conscious when we were there. She was very agitated. Gregory and I put a bunch of patches on her. And the next day, the doctor calls and said, she's had a miraculous turnaround. And she's now home. So it's amazing. We don't know what did it. Were the patches involved? Yes. Who knows? We just don't know. Well, I don't see any more hands up. There's one more. Jerry, did you put your hand back up? And then Michelle. Jerry, did you want to say something again?
Yes, I did. Since nobody else had hands, I figured I'd come in. I have two. One is on the lines of Lavelle. One of my brand partners is a nurse, visiting nurse. And one of her patients, they were already talking about amputation of the foot. And she finally, after months and months, got him to where he started the X39 on the foot, and the wound is just getting smaller and smaller. They can't believe it. And then, since there's not a lot of hands, I'll go on to the consistency. You have to keep going and going and going. And I've been on them like 2.5 years. And I guess you all might imagine if you feel like you're 100 and you want to go pick something up from the floor. I couldn't do that. I had to use a table and everything to try to get down. My knees just weren't working. It's not that they had pain when I was walking, but if I tried to get down or up, and by accident, I found out I can now be on my knees. I can crawl on them. I'm painting my baseboard. So, just keep the patches on. That's all I can say.
Consistency rules. It's the
Right.
little things done consistently over time that change lives. Okay, we're going to finish up with Michelle and then we're going to move on. So you are next, Michelle. Want to unmute?
Hi, Robin. I'm seeing all this light around you, my dear, like there's angels all around you. It's beautiful. We're talking about light therapy, and here we are. So I shared this on the Monday Morning Miracle Call. I thought it would be a good one to share again because people loved it. And this goes back to what Jerry said about being consistent. So I've been using X39 for about 4.5 years. And I have had a thyroid condition, low function. And I used for a number of years a 90 milligram natural, like from a pig, a natural thyroid. And after 2 years on X39, I got down to 60. And now I'm at 4.5 years and I'm down to 45. And my goal is to be completely off, which, Robin, as you said, if, I've been told by doctors, once you're on this, you're on it for the rest of your life. And I get to say, with all due respect, doctor, that may be what's true in your world, but in my world, I have a different reality. I have patches.
I
So
love it. And so you brought up a wonderful point, Michelle, that it's really good to do baselines, to have, if you can get a blood panel done and use that health tracker, because what Michelle said, you know, over time things become better and better and better. Those X39s are regenerating damaged cells and replacing them with newer, younger cells. And so everything works better. And you might not need some of those assistants that you had. So, and do let your practitioner know what you're doing, whether they choose to be a partner or not, but just make them aware so they can be paying attention. So thank
Yeah.
you. That was beautiful. I love it. Okay. Well, I think it's time to introduce our special guest of the evening, someone that we all know and love. She's an amazing community builder. She's one of our presidential directors, and she is a nurse of over 45 years. She's a nutritionist. She teaches people that healthy food can be really delicious. And we are so proud and honored to have Anne Moreau with us this evening. Good evening.
Evening, and thank you for having me, Robin. It's a joy to be here. And I absolutely loved the stories tonight. They were amazing. You know, there were a lot of stories around wounds tonight. And it reminded me of a conversation I had today as I went to the town office. There was a lady that was having issues typing, and she had a very black fingertip. And you know what it reminded me of? That little
The
boy.
little boy.
Yes. So there's a little boy that had he had caught his finger, I think it was in a car door, and the tip of the finger got cut off. The parents took the tip to the emergency room, asked the doctor to put it back on. Doctor said, this isn't going to heal, it's going to turn black. But they insisted because they were going to use the X39, and they used the carnosine as well on it. And he put it back. It did turn black, but 2 months later, that little finger was pink again and all healed. And I shared that story with that woman today because unfortunately, it's been 6 months. She had a manicure, it got nicked, it got infected. From there, she ended up having the nail removed. Yeah, that's the finger. That's a beautiful photo, because that's what can happen when you regenerate, restore, and begin to create new stem cells. The repair is remarkable. And so when I saw her, I said to her, because she said 4 months of antibiotics and the pain's been excruciating and it's not healing. So think of all the stories we've heard tonight and the potential for her to heal. And she was very open to hearing more. So I look forward to her healing journey because it's going to happen, right? We know.
It's such, you know, it's such a gift to know that we have something. I mean, I think I've shared with many people that I couldn't not share when I started. And then, you know, something shifted in me to a sense of responsibility to let people know that this technology is available. I mean, it's not just nice to share, but it's important. It's really important.
And you know,
So
I've been a nurse for, like you said, for over 45 years. So for me, it was about, you know, sharing and caring is what, I mean, as nurses, we care for people. And this technology and this company, it gave me exactly what I wanted to move forward. You know, when you think of a sense of purpose in my retirement days, you know, I have another maybe 30, 50 years to go, right? And so I want to do something that's meaningful and purposeful. And certainly this company gives us that. And yes, there is a sense of responsibility. And when you see somebody in pain, somebody hurting, or anyone that wants to, you know, improve their health and have better performance or whatever it is, better energy, there's so much here that we can do to help so many people.
I love it. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And we get to wake up every day and hear miracle stories. We heard a whole bunch tonight, and people got, I mean, the woman who shared on the call yesterday morning, she didn't have much quality of life at all. She could barely get out of bed. And now she's happening again. You know, it's like, what's the value of that? It's amazing. Okay, dear Anne. So
one thing, Robin, it's something that
Yes.
Michelle
Yes.
quoted you, right? Michelle quoted you because that's your quote. around the reality of physicians, right? So many times people go see medical providers, and I've been involved and I've seen a lot of that over the years. And medical providers only know what they know. They don't know that there's more out there, and they don't know that there's a potential for our body to heal as well as it does. And so our reality is a lot different than what a lot of our providers, are aware of. So I think it's wonderful to be able to tell a provider, that I can tell my provider when I go, and that's going to be soon, that, hey, my eyes have improved. I mean, I've been on these patches for 3.5 years, and I no longer have that film over my eyes. I mean, who's going to believe something like that? It doesn't happen in medicine, right? But it does with this technology. So that's exciting.
Yeah, so we get to keep showing them that there's some limitations in their world, but we don't need to tell them about it. We just get to be better. How wonderful. Okay, and you've shared so much already. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I know we have people that are new on this call. So when someone is brand new, what do you share with them to help them understand how to get the maximum benefit? And this is for everybody, because you may not be brand new, but you may need a little refresher course. How to get the best benefit from utilizing the technology? What do you say to them?
Well, I mean, we have to remember that this is about rebalancing the body, bringing that energy flow back into the body. When we talk about any kind of condition, it's about your system not functioning properly. And when we patch, we use specifically the X39 patch, which does a whole lot of wonderful things. We're again increasing that energy flow, so we allow for the healing process from within. So it's pretty remarkable. But you do have to help by drinking enough water, for example. So a lot of us walk around dehydrated today. We're not drinking enough water. A lot of people are drinking caffeinated type beverages, stimulants that dehydrate. And so we need to really be drinking nice, fresh, clean water. We need to be getting the minerals that we need to support the system and to allow the water to enter the cells so it can be used. And when you're drinking water, we encourage you to drink throughout the day, sipping throughout the day, and making sure that you're drinking at least half of your body weight in ounces of water. Consistently using the patch. We heard that quite frequently in the stories, right? Be consistent. People said that, as well as wearing the patches 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And we encourage you to remove them for 12 hours off because the brain is getting a signal, a frequency. The frequency on each patch is a little different. And these patches have nanocrystals in them, amino acids in different combinations. And when the heat of the body is activating that particular frequency, the light reflects back into the body. It signals the brain to activate a particular peptide, in this case, the GHK copper peptide. And that copper peptide will begin to be activated and will start to do things like resetting a third of your genome. It helps with inflammation. It helps with pain management. It helps with that great feeling of well-being. It does so many things. And I encourage people to go to copperpeptidebreakthrough.com. It's an independent research place that you can go and look at that copper peptide. Laurent Picard is the MD. He's written a book, but this is also his website, and you'll be pleasantly surprised to see everything that this copper peptide does. It's simply amazing. So let me get back to wearing it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You wear it 12 hours off to give the brain a break because the brain is continuing to get a signal, and you want to remove the patch so that the brain will recognize the signal the next day when you reapply. David often will give examples of, you tap your forehead constantly, the brain recognizes that signal. But if you're constantly tapping, the brain forgets or doesn't recognize the signal anymore. So removing the patch gives the body that break. And when you reapply, it activates that signal again.
Beautiful. Consistency, hydration, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Make sure you have enough minerals in your diet to absorb the water that you're taking. So a lot of people, some people just like to put some pink salt or Himalayan salt or Arctic salt in their water because it's loaded with minerals. And doing that on a regular basis is a great idea. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now if people when they're brand new, they want to know, okay, how long before I notice something? What do you say to them then?
For some people, it's like immediate. I mean, I've had people, patched and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm really feeling this." And sometimes they're in pain and they get out of pain very quickly. But other people, I mean, I had a gentleman, it took almost 2 weeks. He was in a lot of pain, and it took me 2 weeks to get him out of pain. And still others, it can take months, right? Before they really begin to see a huge change. We always like to remind people that, and a lot of physicians are saying this, you'll hear some of our medical providers say, for every decade of life that you're on this earth, give it a month. So I'm 71, so 7 months, right? If you're 50, it's 5 months. So that, you can give your body an opportunity to start to activate your own stem cells. You didn't lose those stem cells overnight, and you need to reactivate them and give your body time to do that. And, we have to also remember that we have major organs in our body, the heart, the kidneys, the brain. Those particular organs, if they are damaged, that is where the stem cells are going to go first. Maybe you have a spot on your face, or you have a knee that you want to have repaired. But if the heart is damaged, we don't know that necessarily what's going on internally. So those stem cells are going to go repair that damage first. Those regenerating stem cells are going to repair that damage and then continue to repair other areas over months. And it can take months sometimes.
So what I'm hearing you say is be conservative on expectations. It's wonderful if people notice something quickly, but it doesn't always happen. It was a week before I noticed anything. I just kept putting the patch on C7, and then a week later, my knee pain was gone. And X39 isn't designed as a pain patch, but it does have anti-inflammatory benefits. So that was great. But we never know. I mean, we get surprised all the time what people notice. I have noticed that if people have limitations in their rotation in their neck and they put X39 here, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to have increased mobility there.
That happened to my neighbor here. I mean, when we first moved here, we didn't even know them. And it was a conversation I had with her. She couldn't turn her neck. And so I said to her, "Are you open to trying, something, alternative?" And when I mentioned it to her, because they're both energy workers, so it was like, "Oh yeah, we're in." And so I put that X39 on her neck, and the next morning she was moving her neck. She had no pain. And she was like, "It's going to come back." And it didn't. So she was pleasantly surprised. It was
I
great.
love being wrong in that condition. That's so wonderful. So, so wonderful. Okay. And finally, when people say, well, who should wear this technology and who shouldn't? What do you answer about that one?
Well, anyone can wear that technology, 2 to 100 and whatever. But, with the children in particular, they need to have their parents' supervision. So if you're going to, and, generally speaking, we want them to be able to respond and to speak to you as well. I think that's important. But, I've had, some people that I've worked with that have had, issues with younger children. And what we often will tell them, and this works pretty well, is that I tell people to go ahead and take your old patch, that maybe you've used and it's been used. So it's a little bit less, it has a little bit less of that strong frequency. And we can put that on a child, but monitor them. I mean, I think it's really important to monitor, or you put a fresh patch on and use it for fewer hours on the little ones.
Beautiful, beautiful, because they are powerful.
They
And
are.
so it's important that they can communicate. So they're really for everyone for the most, it's safe. Is there someone who should not be wearing them?
Yeah, someone who's had an organ transplant, for example, they're put on anti-rejection meds, And so we don't want to interfere with any of those medications because they suppress the immune system. And in this case, what we're doing is we're activating the immune system. We're improving the immune system over time. And so, yeah, in that particular case, and sometimes people who are, for example, getting chemotherapy. I know I've had friends who have had some chemo, and I've always say to them, go check with your physician, check with your practitioner first. And if your practitioner agrees and is okay with it, beautiful. But always go back and check with your practitioner.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I know that Gregory went to the hospital to visit with Linda's doctor and explained what the patches are, and she gave total approval for Linda be wearing the patches. And
Yay.
so, so it was wonderful. Okay, ready for some questions?
Sure.
All right. We get into more fun now. So this is from Adele. Question for Anne. Wondering about a singer friend with hearing loss. Wearing Eon near her bad ear used to help, but hasn't helped lately. She put carnosine and glutathione stacked, and her ear swelled. Any suggestions to help her regain her hearing?
I would tend to use the Eon, always the X39. I'm going to preface by saying we always want to use the X39 because it does so many things, right? So that's really important. You might even use the X39 by the ear, sometimes in the back of the ear. But I like, when I'm using glutathione, I like to use Eon with it because that can offset. Because glutathione, let's just talk about glutathione for a minute. Glutathione is your master antioxidant, but it also is one of your master detoxifiers. We produce a lot of glutathione in our liver. And so it's really important to understand as we're getting a little bit older, that level will drop. And as we bring that glutathione level up and the body starts to have a little bit more glutathione, you can go through a detox. And what I find is that Eon and glutathione together, because what Eon does is it reduces inflammation, but it also balances the central nervous system. It brings that balance back. So the two of them work very well together. So I might want to try that combination, maybe, Eon in front and glutathione in back, or X39 and glutathione, and maybe the Eon in the back of the neck. You can do it. Patching is, you play with these patches. You want to try different positions and different ways of patching to see what is going to work for you, because everybody is different and everybody has their own history. And so we just never know which way it's going to work. So playing and moving the patches around can really be powerful.
Beautiful. And I want to just reiterate what you said because everyone needs to know this. X39 always, well, almost always, not totally always, but most of the time, because it's going to regenerate those damaged cells that have created the challenge. And so it is the regenerative patch, and we want to get her hearing back. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, Angela, what do you recommend for patching when someone finds out they have very high pressure in their eyes? And part two is if you have additional recommendations when it appears to be related to high inflammation.
Sure. So I know that one of my friends, Connie Lucas, worked with a gentleman who had that condition, and he simply patched with X39 and got great results at the end of that year, right? That he went back and they couldn't even see the condition anymore. It was gone. So always X39. However, if the levels are really, really high, you might need some support with carnosine. I love carnosine for eye health. It's amazing. But when we talk inflammation, you want to add Eon to that picture. So I think that combination of those three are really powerful. And sometimes even glutathione, because glutathione is going to stop the damage. Like you just said, it's a master antioxidant. It's going to stop the damage. And it may be that there are toxins involved as well. We never know. When you have inflammation, you often have toxins trapped, right? So it's often, a combination of trial and error and see which ones are going to be the ones that are going to work best for you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And, what do you think about using a sleep mask or an eye mask?
Yes, if you're comfortable with that, you can put them right on the eye masks. If you're not comfortable, you can put it on the temple and even on in the third eye. So sometimes, like Eon in the third eye, carnosine here can be powerful. Other times it's right on the mask. If you can, some people just, I can't use a mask on my mom because she uses carnosine for her eye issues. And she's got a very degenerative eye condition that leads to blindness. And we just went to her appointment 3 weeks ago, and the doctor's like, she's not progressing at all. And this is very unusual for a 93-year-old. You don't see that, right? And we're using the carnosine with her and Alavita. We put Alavita right here and the carnosine here. And during the day, she's using X39, X49, and SP6. So she's pretty well patched up.
I love it. I love it. It's fabulous. Okay, thank you. So Rose must be on the other side of the world because she said good morning. So good morning, Rose. I would like to ask suggestions for women with mood swings at times due to premenopausal stage and for depressed feelings.
Yeah, okay. So that is something that obviously women go through at a certain period in their life. And certainly the patch that I would recommend, again, X39, but with SP6. SP6 is amazing because, I know it sells for carb cravings and other cravings, but it also is wonderful for balancing hormones. So I would definitely want to try that. And there's also some aromatherapy sprays that are very balancing to hormones as well. And so the mist might be something that would benefit her as well. So those would be the ones that I would, strongly suggest. Yes. I have my own story about that, but I won't talk about it publicly.
Okay. Oh, I look forward to hearing that one. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Lydia, I've been on X39 and other patches since early April 23, and I feel amazing. 3 exclamation points. I have my mom and a friend of hers, 93 years young, who are avid believers and have had tremendous results. Isn't that beautiful, Lydia, that you can help your mama? And it doesn't get much better than that. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Rowena, are there any patches that could help with let's see. I don't want to say what it is.
Any bacteria in the urine, urinary issues or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah,
If you do stop it.
I would put if I was dealing with the bladder, I would be putting the X39 right 2 fingers below the belly button, and then I would want to put glutathione and Eon on each side because glutathione is powerful for those kinds of issues, right? So I would always put glutathione, or you could even do the trio. Use the X39, use the glutathione, Eon on one side, and carnosine on the bottom, and create this like double triangle, if you will, to get that flow going. And I bet you'd see some really great benefits.
And thank you for saying that, because so much of what the patches do is they open up the energy flow. And typically when we have issues of pretty much any kind, it's because there's some stuckness and things aren't moving. So when that triangular protocol seems to be really powerful, and the diamond shape one too, just increasing the flow in that area can relieve a lot of things. And I do recommend, and I'm not a science person per se. I used to love science. But I haven't read all the studies, but I'll tell you, I've started to read the studies, and I really encourage reading SP6. There's some amazing things in there that are unexpected that can make a huge difference in organs. Yes. Okay, Michelle, I have a friend with kidney issues and swelling in his feet. Is there a patching protocol for the kidney?
Again, I would do the X39, but I would add, consider Alavita. And I would strongly encourage you to go to myalavita.com and look at the clinical study there. If you scroll down and it's kind of on below a picture toward the right, you click on that, and you will be able to see what organs are impacted by this particular patch. So I think it's an amazing patch. And you might even consider SP6, because SP6 does a lot as well. I mean, that trio could be a really beautiful combination for the kidney for sure. No, and I know we've had some stories from some of our brand partners with kidney issues that really have improved their kidney function over time.
Dramatic.
Yes.
Dramatic. Yes. And it's so interesting, SB6 and Alavita, we don't usually think of those for organ function, but when you look closer, they're both amazing. Yeah, they do incredible things. Yes. Okay. And then, I'm not an acupuncturist. I don't know the meridians, but I'll tell you, if you're wanting to stimulate a certain organ, you can look up the meridian line for that organ and you can patch on one of those places. We all know kidney 1, that's a powerful one for a lot of things. So just an idea. Okay, Annabelle, question. I've been patching my dog with used patches, and sometimes he's okay, but sometimes he becomes anxious right after. What do you think is happening, and what should I do next time? I put it on the back of his neck and directly on his skin. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? It's hard because of obviously a dog can't tell you, but my thought is that there may be some toxins that your animal is trying to release and then feeling uncomfortable with that. So I always go back to the Eon patch, and I would do the Eon patch maybe for a few days, maybe a week, and then try to go back to the X39, because the X39 is activating glutathione by 33%, and it may be a little too much for this dog. I don't know how large the dog is, but it might be a little too much. So going slower and patching more slowly with the patch, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day when you bring that patch back in, and see if the dog tolerates it, and build your way back up to using it for longer periods.
True for animals and humans. Sometimes you have to build up. And I've heard people that have little dogs, like really little ones, they can get really hyper. So, the Eon patch is a great suggestion. And we have a question from Pat asking, what patches do you use for your eyes and where?
Well, I used X39, X49. Those were my 2 patches that I use pretty consistently. And I do use Alavita at night. I put it right here. My X39, X49, I alternate between putting my X39 in the back of my neck and my 49 below the belly button. And sometimes I'll switch off and put the X49 here and the X39 below the belly button. So it really depends. But those are the ones I typically use. I haven't used carnosine for my eyes, just the X39, X49 kind of combination. And it's worked really well for me. So, it's been amazing. I have better vision, distant vision and near vision. My blood vessels in the back of my eyes, when he showed me the video, or he had taken a picture of my eye, and he said, look at these blood vessels, and they're amazing. And I said, is this typical for a 71-year-old? And he was like, are you kidding me? He said, this is really amazing, and I won't be checking you for 3 years. So, it's, again, different patches will do different things, but X39 does a whole lot for the whole body. But if you want to add extra patches to move things along a little quicker, that can be beneficial as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Rose is saying, I put different patches under my dog bed. Glutathione under one bed, carnosine under another, X39 and 49 under another. You got a lot of dogs, Rose. This way my dog picks out which one he wants to lay on top of. Oh, it's 3 different beds for the same dog, and the dog is sensitive to the frequencies. Oh, how interesting. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a great trick. I think I might want to try that. We have an elderly cat that was on his deathbed, and the vet says he's old. Cats get old, their kidneys fail, and he lost a lot of weight. And so we just changed his diet and put a collar on him with an X39, and 2 more years so far. He's getting he's showing his age now. He's 19 and he's getting close.
Wow.
But we got 2 more years and of quality of life. So it's really, really wonderful. Our beloved four-leggeds love the patches too. And Annabelle's asking, do you change the patches every day under the dog's bed? Probably not. We keep our patches on our dogs for a little while longer and take their color off. So yeah. Okay, Norma. Have been using X39 for well over a year and Eon at night. I recently twisted my ankle and put the patches on my ankle during the day and night and not seeing much progress after 2 weeks. I don't understand why I'm not getting better results.
And that may be, well, first off, we always want to talk hydration. Make sure that you're hydrating. That's going to be very important. Make sure you're getting the minerals so that you're getting that water into the cell. You know, water is what moves the energy. And you obviously have some blocked energy there where you injured. So when you have an injury, there is a blockage of energy and the brain's going to signal pain because the energy flow has been blocked. So you have to sort of figure out, where am I going to patch? Have you tried patching? You're saying a twisted ankle. Sometimes I love the patching protocol. It's an acupuncture point on top of the foot between the great toe and the second toe, right on top. Sometimes that works really well. Putting the E on there, I've had great results with that. Putting the X39 right on the injured spot, maybe that combination during the day. If you want to put the X39 on the injured area during the day and at night, put the E on, on top of the foot. You can try that. And obviously, if you've got, like Ice Wave or energy enhancers, I love using the energy enhancers under the feet. Kidney 1 under the feet will really begin to move the energy, and then the other patches work better and you get better results. So that might be something you want to try.
Thank you for that. One of our doctors in the past, Dr. Walt, who's an acupuncture physician, it was his favorite patch, energy enhancer on kidney 1, because we all need energy to do everything. And like we talked about, most things is stuck energy. So why not?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
a friend who called me this week that's been sick for like a month, and she's telling me that she's just not feeling better. And I said to her, put 2 sets of energy enhancers, because she was coughing. And I said, put 1 set on the lung points here, tan on the left, white on the right, and put 1 set under your feet. And she messaged me an hour later and said, oh my gosh, I'm already feeling the difference, so yeah. And then of course, want to put glutathione in the center with your X39 in the back of your neck. That's a powerful combination.
I love it. Well, I put on 2 sets of energy today because I was working out with my trainer, and I keep upping my weights. It's really fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yes, I'm getting stronger and stronger. It's great. Okay, we have time for just a few more. Let's see. I want to go to some people that we haven't heard from. Dee, what patches do you recommend for an adult with a history of anxiety that manifests in some compulsive symptoms?
I would always do X39 with Eon. That combination is a beautiful combination. And you don't want to overwhelm the body, especially when somebody's feeling that way. So that combination of X39 Eon can be really wonderful. And sometimes I tell people, put the X39 during the day and the Eon at night. But usually for people who are anxious during the day, I like using the X39 and Eon together during the day. That tends to work better. I had a friend who was having a lot of anxiety during the day, and we were having her use the Eon for sleep at night. And I just said to her, take it off at night, put it on during the day with your X39. And it was unbelievable for her. She was like, my principal came to me and said, what's wrong with you? You're amazing today. So it really, really helped her, be able to work and not be anxious and nervous and all of that. So that's a great place to start.
I love it. Well, I'm looking at the top of the yeah, we're kind of running out of time here. And you said some other things earlier. I want to identify that, trust your instincts, because you might get guided to move it somewhere else. Try it and see what happens, And Cameron, why don't you wait next time and ask without naming a disease, just symptoms, and we can address that. And Michelle said, your mom's a wonder, Anne. You must be so happy that she's feeling so good at her young age of 93.
It has
Yeah.
been wonderful to see her. Yeah.
And, Dr. Shauna's going to be coming back. And I remember visiting.
Excited about that. She is wonderful.
I know. We all get to learn from, all get to learn from each other all the time. But I was visiting her in Idaho, and her 92-year-old mother was had to stop driving because of an eye condition that happens. It is degenerative, and she started wearing glutathione and carnosine. And her ophthalmologist said, at 92, I have never seen this eye condition turn around ever. And she was back driving, and I asked Shauna yesterday or the other day, how's your mom? She goes, she's kicking strong at 96. So I know, isn't that wonderful? So I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you, Anne, for sharing your great wisdom and care and stories. And thank you, everyone, for sharing your stories. That was wonderful to hear from you, because it is your stories that inspire us to share with other people. And if you are a guest this evening, we're so grateful that you took the time to be with us. Please get back to the person that invited you. I hope you took some good notes, and get started. We invite you to get started. The patches do come with a guarantee. And as Gregory likes to say, there's nothing to lose but your health to gain. And if you're just doing it for yourself, our customer, we have several different customer programs that are wonderful. And if you're going to be sharing, then we have a wonderful compensation program for you as a brand partner. So everybody, thank you. You can unmute and say thank you, Anne.
Strongest ever.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing, Anne.
Took a lot of
Anne.
notes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed and Robin.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.